This very interesting video here I just showed was in Sweden, and basically we see a sundog or sun halo in the sky. It's very beautiful. This has been trending on social media, and I wanted to just kind of go over sort of this topic a little bit because some people wonder what creates this anomaly, this phenomenon in the sky, and some think maybe it's just atmospheric based. And actually I don't think so. I think if anything it might show that there's some sort of crystalline structure above us, and you can't really explain this with atmospheric effects. It looks like the sun is shining through something and it's reflecting off something, and that's what we're looking at. And you can see it on these ends of the circle. It kind of reminds me of the rainbow. The rainbow also, if you look at it from high up in elevation or flying, you can see a full circle. So it makes you wonder how this anomaly is created. Of course, we had this recent movie, Dark Tower, where it talks about this dome above us as well. And let me play this for you.
It's a map. My father showed me a map like this once. Inside the circle is your world and my world. Many others. No one knows how many.
This is very interesting that a lot of movies talk about there being a dome above the earth. And of course, it's always put in this sort of fable or folklore type of setting. You also have a lot of ancient historical references to there being a dome above us, and that's the Arctic being in the center of the earth. But of course, we're told that none of this stuff is true, that we are just in a heliocentric universe. And of course, I don't necessarily think that we're in a flat earth, of course, but I just find it very peculiar how you can find evidence in many different aspects regarding this idea that there's some sort of dome above us. Whether we're talking about halos or talking about sprites, which also seem to fire and give sort of a ripple effect up at about 100 kilometers up. There's also the fact that at the Kármán line, 100 kilometers up, the temperatures change extremely quickly and get much more hot out of nowhere at exactly 100 kilometers up. It's just very strange. Of course, a lot of people try to explain this away and just say it's, it has to do with the magnetic field above us. I don't think that actually explains it fully. I think that it makes more sense. There must be some sort of crystalline structure. How would you have reflections based on some sort of magnetic field? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Of course, magnetic fields can affect sunlight, but I don't think it would cause it to be a circle and reflect through it. So this is, there's obviously also you have these pictures from above, from the International Space Station, where you see some sort of line which looks like a barrier. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It looks like right here, you see this line above at about 100 kilometers up. Of course, this is a panoramic camera. It doesn't actually look like this, and you can tell it's panoramic. Let me back up here. You can tell it's panoramic based on how this is shaped here. You can see it's been curved a little bit because of the panoramic nature of the camera. But you can see there's some sort of line, it looks like a physical structure at the Kármán line. And you see it on a lot of photos and video footage allegedly from the ISS. Now, some people don't think the ISS exists. I think that this footage is actually above, probably at 400 miles up. I'm just guessing. And this is why it looks the way it does. I think this line, though, definitely shows that there's something there. This is just not some sort of magnetic, field that's being shown physically within the footage. And it doesn't seem to make any sense for NASA to fake this part. I mean, would it make any sense for them to fake that? I mean, they don't believe there's anything there either, so why would you put it there? I mean, if they were going to fake it, they would make it look like there's nothing there instead of something showing up. You see the aurora borealis there, and you can see it even in footage like this as well. It's interesting, But so he also does some reversing of the light just to see if it looks a little different. And you can see it clearly looks like there's some sort of surface that it's shining through because it's separate from this. You can see it has a different color to it, right? And it just reminds me of shining like a light through a bottle. When you shine a light through a bottle, it has some sort of reflective properties like this as well. So this is kind of my thoughts on this recent viral sun halo. It seems to have people wondering what it is, and of course I don't think science really explains it either. So this is just sort of my thoughts on the whole topic. I always think this is so interesting and spectacular to look at these sun dogs. It says to me that we don't understand our universe when we see things like this, and just all the strange things that happened during the last eclipse as well. All the eclipse shapes that were showing up on, mirrored onto the ground, just hundreds and even thousands of them. Footage that people were putting out before, it was really interesting, and people couldn't really explain that either. And a lot of people can't explain what happens during a solar eclipse. Where is the moon? They can't see the moon actually approach the sun, which I think proves that there's something up there that we're not understanding, that NASA perhaps doesn't want us to really know about.